Many classmates in my group often ask me the most frequent question. Last year, after I finished studying the theory of breathing, I performed rituals every day, I did the baby pose every day, and I was very disciplined. Why is it that before coming to your mobile conference this time, I specifically took an X-ray, and my next position hasn't changed? Then this time, we have a spot to give away at our outdoor event, because he went back, and following what we learned last year, he adjusted his posture himself, pushed his frame to level 8, and sent the X-ray to our group of 500 people. Where? Sitting at home writing. Because we promised that among our 500 people, whoever first pushes their posture to level 8, I will give them a free learning spot at the guest seat during the 2024 New Year's event. And then, it's this person. Okay, you all, stand up. Those with their backs to everyone, come and take a look. All right, a charming young man. It's the first time I've seen him. I can't quite place him. All right, additionally, there's a student who pushed their posture from 11 or 12 to 10, and just the day before yesterday, a female student asked me to confirm it. I said, congratulations to you. Push up 2 levels on the right side and then 1 level on the left side. And then there's also a teacher from my team, Lin Jianchao, such a big guy, over 100 kilograms, and now he has posted in the group. After a year of relentless effort, he has pushed his posture up to level 8. So you see, today's Jianchao is different from the Jianchao of the past. Yes, the Jianchao of the past, when he used to help me, I often went to companies to give lectures, and he would go with me. What impressed me the most was that because I didn't have a driver's license, he would drive for me. What he couldn't stand the most was when he was driving and someone cut in front of him or suddenly braked. Whenever that happened, I would be sitting there comfortably, and suddenly a bench would be pushed in, and he would step on the gas and catch up, roll down the window, and tell me to get out. Just as the other person was about to curse back, he would stick his arm out the window, and before they could even respond, he would step on the gas and speed off. So in the past, he was very fierce and extremely impatient. At that time, he was the champion of China's heavyweight division and the powerlifting champion of China. He used the maximum weight to push his body to its limits, developing the stability function of his framework to the extreme, and he was firmly stuck at the top. So after he elevated his framework, you'll notice that he rarely argues with people in the group now. When the framework elevates to level 11 or 12, compared to when it elevates to level 8, the biggest changes are in your appearance and your temperament. So you'll find yourself incredibly calm compared to before. All right, now let me tell you, the reason you haven't elevated is because your breathing can't handle standing and walking. Your breathing can't move, so after you finish elevating while lying down, you take an X-ray while still lying down, and you might find that your framework has possibly reached level 8 or 9, but once you stand up, it jumps back to 12, right? So why is it so difficult to enter through the door of breathing? Think about it. The ancients weren't all fools. They spent thousands of years studying meditation, standing postures, meditation, and Tai Chi because they wanted to understand this concept. Later on, Qigong emerged, so even now, when we talk about Qi, it still seems elusive, like mist, like water, and like wind. That thing is inherently complex, and humans are inherently complex. So if you really want to enter this door, you first need to enter a state of Wu Ji, limitless state. Find the direction of Qi. Understand the underlying logic of breathing, and then gradually rebuild. Only then might you be able to enter this door. All right. Currently, for most people, breathing only serves the function of gasping for air. I have a friend who is a very famous entrepreneur in Shanghai, and his business is also very large. After he attended a class at our studio, he had a meal with me. When he toasted me, he said he finally understood that what he used to do wasn't called breathing, but gasping. After today's class, I finally know what it means to feel relaxed and at ease, to truly inhale air, and how comfortable the body feels after exhaling. He didn't realize it before because his business had grown too big and too fast. So, as I was saying, everyone around me was like this, where breathing turned into gasping. Haven't you heard that a bird only has the function of urinating? Well, if you don't want to part from this world and want to be with it for life, You need to practice breathing while standing and squatting properly. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in a sitting posture for life. If you don't mind the hassle, that's fine too. So, after experiencing a day's wear and tear, if you take a break in the morning and again in the evening, it can reduce the damage in your life and work, allowing your organs that have shifted due to damage to return somewhat. But you'll spend your whole life in a cycle, constantly breaking and repairing, living your life in this endless state. If you're too lazy to do this and want to save time, you want the energy to flow naturally, then you need to make sure it can adapt to the changes in posture in your life and work. If you need to walk in your life, you need to ensure you have the breathing capacity for walking. If you need to stand in your life, you need to ensure it has the breathing function for standing. Otherwise, sound of quick footsteps. When you're lying down, the energy that reaches your throat will fall back down when you stand up. All right? Walking is the most commonly used mode of movement for humans. Because even though you might walk less now, you can't drive from your bed to the living room, can you? You can't call a car to carry you over, can you? So even though you walk less, you'll find that the changes in your position and your movement are mostly done by walking. My mom often says, although she doesn't have a high level of education, when she educates me, she always tells me not to push too hard, not to push myself too tight. And then, you should take one step at a time. Don't think about walking before you've learned to stand. When elderly people speak, it's always simple yet philosophical. Okay, this phrase means don't think about walking before you can stand. Actually, many people have heard this phrase their whole lives but haven't achieved it. What does it mean? When he is standing, his heart rate remains in the 90s. When he is standing, his joint mobility is much less than when sitting or lying down, which means his breathing is impaired when standing. It also means the muscles around his joints have already tightened when standing, indicating that he's not yet ready to walk. But what have we done? No matter how you stand straight, whether it's at ease or any other way, or even in an X shape, what have we done? Have you scrolled through your social media feed? Have you looked at what others are posting in group chats? Everyone is competing, checking how many steps they've taken today, anxiously looking at the step count on their watch, the step count in their WeChat, all focusing on these things, competing over these things. In other words, pursuing more Tai Chi from Tai Chi. So when you do this, one day you might end up damaging your knees. In our workshop yesterday, there was someone from a company who didn't run marathons or use the treadmill at the gym. He just commuted to and from work normally and ended up wearing out his knees. As a result, when I had him stand and measure his heart rate, it was consistently over 90, and his breathing rate was over 30 times per minute. What does this indicate? It indicates that you haven't mastered standing properly yet. You first need to ensure that the range of motion in your joints while standing is similar to when you're sitting. You need your heart rate while standing to be similar to when you're sitting or lying down, and then you can start walking. If you can't stand properly, you definitely won't be able to walk properly. So, the words spoken by the least educated people often contain the most profound truths. Don't think about running or walking before you've learned how to stand. This is why standing is so important. Today, on our first day, the theme we are learning is how to stand. Whether you are 30, 50, or 70 years old, as some of us here are, we are overturning 70 years of walking, returning to the basics, and relearning how to stand. We are relearning how to stand in a way that lowers your heart rate. Why is that? Because whether you are a professional or running a business, if your heart is racing and your breathing is rapid while you're standing still, how can you use your expertise to better serve your patients? How can you use your expertise to lead your business effectively? Because you are too anxious, you can't calm down, and you can't lower your heart rate. So what does standing also represent? It also represents slowing down, applying the brakes, and stopping to observe the changes around you rather than going with the flow. This is the significance of standing.